Hey, muy buenas noches, everyone. I hope everybody's doing well, blessed, and enjoying family. Bueno, mi gente, first and foremost, como siempre, con mi corazón, muchísimas gracias to everyone for you guys' words, prayers, and your amazing support. And this recording right here is a little rerun on something I touched about my message. So if it kind of don't click in with current time, it is why. I just thought it was a thing inside look on how Billy could actually send camaradas to do something, knowing they're gonna crash, but since he felt he was higher than other Billys, he also tried to push for the camaradas to get him out of the wiggle. That eventually, he got moved on himself, and how at all times we're just tools to get abused for them. I hope everybody like it. I'm dropping this today, Wednesday, because I was supposed to go live today at 7. I'm gonna move it till tomorrow at 7. As you guys know, I've been having a lot of problems with my thrombosis, so I did an appointment and I have the afternoon, so I have it at 7. So, mi gente, we will connect Thursday if you guys would honor me. With this said, I hope you guys enjoy this recording. Please do like and share. And most importantly, anything that pops in the head, doubtful, or you want to ask me, do know, you show me love, respect. I would always do the same. Gracias, que estén bien.
Muy buenas tardes to everyone. I hope everybody's doing well, blessed, and enjoying family. And before I start, please allow me to start off by thanking you guys again for all your kind words, for your prayers, and most of all for you guys' time. I know it takes time out your day, to hear me out and to leave your comments and wishes. Muchísimas gracias. Do know they're not, being looked past. They're highly appreciated. Gracias de nuevo. Okay, for this story, it's gonna be the third story on the pili, on the three pilis I said I was gonna touch on. And at first I was gonna basically I've seen a lot of videos recently about these individuals and how they paint one side and the next, to be what they usually are being mentioned as, as superheroes or legends, and they're far from, For example, this story is going to be around Popeye from Harpies and the Camarada Flaco from Harpies. Now, the first time I heard about Popeye is when I had my first celly, the Senor Raul. And as you guys are aware, he wasn't going to badmouth his own brother, but in other words, he told me, like, he basically told me that just to keep away, that it wasn't advised because he had mood swings. He just left it open like that. He didn't say nothing negative, and I would never put something in the in Raul's mouth. But by him saying that, he didn't need to say other words. I immediately knew where he was coming from. Anyways, I moved from Quilmas, and I kept pushing, and I started getting a little bit more involved on the political issue, mainly because I was still in touch with Raul. Eventually, I had Ironwood, and as you guys have heard my story, I ended up picking up the yard for Terco, a yard. And at this yard there was a lot of camaradas from Harpies, and out of respect, because I had been told already, if there was other camaradas from Harpies to basically any doings with them or not doings with them, to go ahead and address Flacco and Corcoran Shoe. He was a validated homie. Cause Pop Boy took that real personal. So I had the blessings or the good luck that while I was in Ironwood, I never had no bad crossings with the camaradas from Harpy. So, but out of respeto, we opened up those avenidas to, and I struck out Flaco just to extend my saludos, mis respetos, and he did as well. So we were aware of each other. Now, as time passed and I went to Tehachapi and everything, I kept hearing more about, the Senor Popeye. And he was far from being one of those, that was a legit senor per se with camaradas. Mostly in Tehachapi, as I mentioned before, I had senores on my van, and we're back there in the shoe. And at this time, me and my cuartero, we didn't have a tubo, we didn't have a radio, nothing. So their conversations, even if we try not to, side buzz, we were still able to hear them. So at this time, they were upset. They were upset because Papa wasn't just power hungry with the camaradas. He used to push his weight around with his own organization, with his brothers. I'll give you guys an example. There was a misunderstanding on the streets amongst Peely's and Harpy's gang, and Pop Boy felt so much superior than the other Peely's that he ended up taxing the Peely's, but not only taxing them, but he had addressed them to the point where what they were going to pay, they were going to pay to Harpy's gang. Now, just picture that, picture the machismo that Pop Boy hit with the other Peely's. They he basically told him, I'm stronger than you and you're gonna do this. And not only that, but you're gonna, buck down and admit you're wrong and pay the gang. And a lot of carnales took this to offense, which is understood. They're all power hungry and think they're superior than camaradas. But he was just one of those individuals in everything he did. Because to be sincere, he had a lot of power. He had a lot of people on the inside and had a lot of people on the outside. So he had that who. He was one. I'm not gonna say ass Wettersherm because Wettersherm was just something else, but he was up there. He was up there back there, and he always did that with his hermanos. He always felt he was superior and used to tax them. Or left it open like that. But basically training them. So needless to say, he had other individuals already gunning for him. And on the inside, the one that used to run his whole carro, his whole Ranfla was Flaco. He was the one running whichever yards he was on, and you know he was up there. He implemented the Mesa system, and he did a lot. Now, though, for those hearing me say, Flaco, I'm speaking about the older Flaco. You know, the one he's older than me. But there was three Flacos working for Papa. There was another homie from Harpies as well. They called him Flaco or Little Flaco. And then, there was another Flaco underneath him that he was from Tijuana. He was a paisa. He was one of the main ones that had that avenue open, that pipeline going straight to Harpies to this side of the border. Okay, and just to move a little bit forward, by this time, time went by. I went to Corcoran. I got validated, and we weren't in the same block. me and the camarada Flaco, but we were in the same side of the shoe, in B yard. So we had the pleasure to striking up on my peelies to one another a lot more, and he was a feed me individual. He just had a lot of responsibilities, a lot of headaches. Cause like I stated, he was in the system. He was Pop Boy secretary, the ones that didn't even need to bother Popeye with a lot of decision making. But this went by, and I want those that are starting off, thinking that everything's cool as long as you maintain solid or loyal. Now, let me just put a little perspective on Flaco. He had been down, I believe, at this time about 20 years too, and got picked up a hot one for Popeye somewhere down the line. Went to the hole. In the hole, he took over for Popeye. Now, keep in mind, these are the times that Sureños were warring it with Sureños and taking yards. You weren't being given yards. So he took that yard, he got validated, and he sat back there for like 15 years doing things for Popeye, addressing things, being a three-way to the streets, in the sense, if something happened that needed to touch Popeye's ear immediately. Now, Flaco had a carnal or cousin. I apologize. I'm not. I don't really. I'm not really 100% sure if either or. But out on the streets, I guess he was moving their work. And one time something went bad with the material, or I don't know, but he was short. I believe it was $300. Now, when this happened, you know, the Pili's daughter, he basically struck one up to Flaco and told him, "Hey, this is your primo. Tell him to get right or." So, the camarada took the proper steps, went through the proper guidelines. He got at the señor and told him, like, look, please give my carnal or primo quebrada, and if deadline hits and he don't pay, I'll take care of it. And keep an eye, youngsters, because this is how much a sureño's worth. After whatever you do. Anyways, the 2 weeks hit. The daughter and the son-in-law weren't happy with they had not been paid. So they had they had to move on Smokey, on the streets. So when this happened, of course, Flaco had spoken. They had gave him his palabra that they were going to wait on him. So he told him, I will pay you and this that. And what Papa's response was, you took responsibility for this, and then still the issue has not been taken care of. So he told him, I didn't have nothing to do with it. It was the calle's issue. Worry about your things. So time passed by, and next thing Flaco Selly moves on him and whacks him. He whacked him bad. To what I heard when I was in Corcoran, and when it was that the porques were being asked, he basically got told, you spoke up for this individual, y nos quedaron mal, you guys didn't come through, so you're taking space. You need to get on with yourself. Just imagine that, man. You pick up a life sentence for this individual on the inside. You go ahead and start suffering and sit down for years after years, working, doing things for this individual, and over $300 over not showing him love by giving you a little bit of time to get that money there, by not even giving you that at least up front, Charles, you got this coming, and allow you to defend yourself as a man. He hadn't moved on, snakily, like he was trash. Sorry to say this. but it's what they do, They usually always say, you're taking space. There's 1,000 behind you that want to be in that space. So, ahí te ves. Now, this is in my opinion, this is when Popoy's world started coming down, His whole power shifted. Because, like I stated, he was strong in and out. But, Flaco felt betrayed, and you can't blame the guy, right? Now, I don't agree with his next steps, though. He actually started working with the squad and the Federicos, and he just, uh, he just basically added to what the feds, I think, already had against his daughter right before, you know, right before she got busted. And, you know, when she did get busted, Papa was furious. So his response, he knew exactly where it was coming from, but his anger was directed again against people that did not deserve it, people that were loyal to him, as they all do, you know. So what he did is he was mad at one Flaco, so he had the other two Flacos removed without even knowing him. He sidelining them, and they had gotten whacked and removed. So there's your answer for those that on the comments ask me, is there a lot of people on the side that deserve to be over there? Nah, there's a lot of people on that side that power hungry, the catos put him on that side over their own machismo and pendejismo, to be sincere. And anyways, he had all three of them removed, but Papoy had that complex to him. He thought he was above a lot of pilis. For example, for those that were up in the bay, you know him and Toñito were bumping heads, because when the mesa was built up there, Toñito wanted to be on that seat, but due to his wiggle, to his bad doings, he didn't. So they went back and forth, and back and forth. You guys know what that means. They had little activities going amongst camaradas on yards, and they had the bad blood. Now, for those that say, camaradas were blindsided when they got promised, when they hit Toñito, that, nah, man, everybody knew that Papoy promised a lot to a lot of camaradas, and it never went through. It never went through. So when he sent his crew after Toñito, as a soldado, you gotta do your homework, man. You know, and I say this from personal experience. When you as a soldado is gonna take care of the MS business for them, you need at least three pilis to go ahead and sign off on that. You can't go off on one pili's word that everything's gonna be okay. Nah, you gotta cover your butt, which when Toñito's issue happened, they never did. They took Papoy's word and they went forward with it, you know, and it's just something that, I left Pelican Bay right before they got out of the shoe. They started kicking out the validations. But I'm assuming, from being there, that once they got kicked out the shoe, then that, three stamp rule to move on a made member went out the window, because there was canales walking the same yard, right? And they were able to take care of their own. After all, a sureño ain't supposed to put hands on them. They were being permitted with the three stomp sign, as you guys know my story, with no repercussions, but it was different, everybody was slammed still. But anyways, when the camaradas did this and they got whacked afterwards, and what surprised me in the beginning is that we were hearing back here, that Papoy was actually pressing the issue that, nah, Chales, you were gonna clear him and you were gonna not touch him no more. But it's just the way he was. He thought he was better than even his own carnales. He was used to always getting his way with his carnales, making them do what things out of norm. So he was trying to push his weight on his carnales. So by this time he had a lot of tail that was following him, a lot of things, and he had lost all his grip on the streets and in a lot of yards. So it's why I think they decided to go ahead and have Spy move on him. You know, if you know how the juegos played, and you've been out back there, when all the indictments and everything has been going on, it was a smart move from the MA. Sorry to say that, but Popo had too much heat on the streets. Whatever little workers he had, kept the Fed still around. They had that. They had. They were able to stay where they were at because Popo was still there. Once the organization removed Popoy, it was common knowledge, that the Federicos had to go back, regroup, and wait till something came up for them to go back out and start doing their thing. By then, other carnales that could wiggle in that territory would establish a lot of things, make a lot of money. So I think it was a power move as you know, trying to prove a point that it wasn't going to be permitted no more. Which later down the years, you guys seen as well with Mosca, right? And to answer a subscriber's questions, you asked me if I knew Spy or knew anything of Spy. You know, I met Spy. I met Spy, in the shoe, and but he was a camarada. I have never met him as a Billy. He was a camarada. His cellmate was his own homeboy. Lefty, big, tall, skinny, and he was feeding me. I didn't have the pleasure to actually be in the same pot or everything. It was just like one of those things that I got to his pot, but due to validations or however they work the validations, I got moved to three right. And later on the line, yeah, I heard that he became a carnal, and but he still had to earn his bones, cause it's funny how they work. Some of them have to earn them bones, and or maybe just it just presents itself, for them to earn them, and I think that's what this case was. Basically have him earn his bones and remove that old man from harpies. But why I decided to speak about this is, again, I think it's real low, to come on here and glorify these individuals if you weren't ever sitting back there. Or, I understand there's views or whatever in the mix, but there gotta be some type of homework doing before you speak on it. That's why since I got on here, I stated. If I don't have first-hand knowledge of it, I'm not gonna speak about it. I could sit here and tell you guys 1,000 patoventuras, from me being in that 1 yard, I heard from the other 3 yards. But that's what I don't want to do. I came on here to tell my story in the hopes that I could be a help to someone the way I would have wished someone had spoken out so that I could have decided what to do. Not trying to make nobody's mind up. I ain't even trying to tell you, that I'm this, and that. I'm a pendejo, straight up. And I ain't worth anything. I'm basura. I'm whatever you want to call me, right? But at least, look in and be like, but I'll be damned if I'm that pendejo. Be smarter than me. That's all. Because I tell you firsthand, you could go to jail, do your little time, sit in the sit back there and go to war for an individual that's gonna betray you. Because that's what I got, for over 20 years of wiggling in the system, in the shoe when it was the shoes, in the feds, out on the streets in Mexico. And at the end of the day, as you guys will hear at the end of my story, they basically didn't care about that. They laughed in my face and were still trying to lie to what they did to one of my closest family members, as you guys will hear. So I ain't trying to come on here and say, I'm this, and I'm all this, and bad. I'm not. I'm a man that got beat and beat and beat down, and I suffer and I went through struggles. I always try to do things right, but I was always in that cup, you know, full of water, feeling like I was drowning, and I never got out of it. The whole time I was trying to do things. So I hope my story could be used for someone to never have to go through that. There is no glory in prison, there is no glory following these individuals. Time and time again, you guys hear all they care about is, their pride, their power, their money, and, sus vitaminas for the avena. That's all they care about, man. You could do years and years and years of correct, and one day, he tries to get out of bed and slips, and oh, it was this guy's fault. Whack him. It's that simple, man. They really don't have no type of love for camaradas, for sureños. So if you're a gangbanger, stay loyal to your gang. Be that. Don't try to please someone outside your gang, because it's just not gonna get nowhere. And if you have true homeboys from your gang, they're gonna try to guide you to, man, to get out the ghetto, man. We come from the gutter, but don't mean you gotta stay in the gutter, or in something even worse. It's just the way I see things. But I don't want to get all preachy on here. Just thought I would touch on this. What I'm trying to say, when I say I'm a pendejo, basically I'm trying to put out there, be smart, man. Be smarter than this pendejo that honestly, I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. I start chemo again Monday because of a lot of issues, but I have faith. But again, I'm ready. If that's the case, it's okay. I'm at peace with it. So just look in and be like, I'm gonna be smarter than that. That's it. I don't, as you guys have known me, I don't come on here and glorify nothing I've done. Nothing. Because all my decisions, from the minute I started game banging to till about a year ago, were straight pendejadas, straight up. Bad decisions after bad decisions that left me down an alley of putting in time, suffering, and at the end of the day, I have nothing to show for. Not one thing. But a lot of tears for my jefita, for my family members, and but anyways, mi gente, I apologize if I sidetracked it from the story at hand. Again, muchísimas gracias to everyone. I sincerely mean it. So with this said, please always stay true to yourself. Stay loyal to your loved ones. Be smart, everyone. God bless everyone.